Okay, so we are into game 1. Playing against Scorpios defense systems, which can be a bit tough for a max deck. Obviously, their ID ability does sort of ruin ours. Just looking at this, I'm not particularly happy with his opening hand, so gonna send it back. It's just not really got any of that early pressure that I want. There's no siphons or no eater, so okay. This looks reasonable. Inject is kind of awkward against Scorpios, but if they choose to fire their ability on our ID ability draw, then we can safely play this, and then it's not so bad. Okay, so just defending R&D, made a new remote. Let's see what we mill. Okay, so just give them a chance to use their ability. Yep, so removing a count siphon, which means I'm going to use this turn to play the inject. I'll gamble first. Okay, draw a siphon. I'm willing to take a risk here. Scorpios decks rarely have damage options, and even if they do, I've had worse in hand, so we're safe from Scorched Earth. And I think I just want to install this eater. We can Deja Vu on a count siphon next turn, which is pretty useful. So yeah, setting up for that makes a lot of sense. Let's see what this remote server is before I do anything about it. Okay, Maryland campaign. So we'll go and kill this because obviously we want to deny them economy, and then Deja Vu account siphon is really good for us. Okay, so I expect they'll take that paperclip out of the game. Yep. So I'm gonna go kill this. Let them shuffle it back in, and then get back the account siphon and play it. Don't need to install this here. Let's break that. We could just trash 2 cards, I guess. We'll bear that in mind in future. Still take the money, and then I'll just go and check R&D for a single access. Quite like to find a keyhole here. Sandberg. That does not bother me right now. That probably won't bother me in future. Should be keeping them fairly long credits. Okay, just mill 2 Dirty Laundries, draw a Rebirth as well. So often against Scorpios I Rebirth quite early if I draw it, just because it stops us from milling our deck, which seems odd, but I think this turn I'll play an I've Had Worse first. Okay. I think I just want to gamble. Oh, it's still the same old thing. So we still have a siphon in our bin if we want it. Which I think we do. So, okay. Do I want to remove either of those? If they don't remove either of these, then I think I'm playing that retrieval run so we can get the keyhole. Okay, no. Remove the keyhole from the game. So now we'll inject, and if we hit a keyhole we can do as I said. We do, good. So same old retrieval run, get a keyhole. And then is there anything better than just starting it? And install this liberated account. They can trash it while it's still got all the money on, but I'm not so scared of that, although now we can drop one of these I've Had Worses. Like I said, it's unlikely they're playing Scorched Earth in the first place, and having one should be enough. You know, small chance, but it's not. Okay, so yeah, they're just playing IPO, which means next turn we can take some of this money and then also make a keyhole run. It's going to take 8, I think. And then do this. Living Eclipse means if we want we can use this Mad Dash. Okay, that's somewhat annoying. get rid of that animation. Not going to pick it up yet. I want to rebirth here. I don't want to risk losing our Black Orchestra, seeing as if we do that, they can actually make this completely unbreakable to our deck. So, rebirth into Omar. And now we can safely draw into that Black Orchestra if they want to try and deny us the ability to break this. Okay. Upgrades. Gonna use Omar here, and then if they let us in, I'll... Okay, yeah, so... There's no point going through. That means Archives is actually off limits because we lost this paperclip, but we do have a knifed in our bin, I believe. Yeah. So we're not completely screwed for that. Let's play this interdiction and then keyhole them. So yeah, the plan now is to get a bunch of points into here, knife the ice wall, and then mad dash it. Get rid of those. I don't mind them giving us bad publicity particularly. So I'd rather trash that one pointer than hostiles. I'd like to see some higher value agendas, ideally. Okay, so that's a Marcus Batty, which we can't actually use effectively right now. Just gonna draw a little bit. Take 4 and keyhole them. So I expect they'll want to put a destroyer in front of that R&D ice fairly soon. Oh, or they could just fire it now. And pay 1. There we go. Absolutely fine. That's big. That is nice and big. Okay, so that's 5 points in the bin. If we find one more point, and then we can recurve a knifed to win the game. How much recursion have we gone through already? There's a deja vu here and the same old thing here. We can afford to discard this levy. It's probable we won't need to play it at all. And yeah, so while we have this interdiction in play, Jackson Howard is not a big deal. Obviously they can get these 5 points back into R&D, but they have to show us that they're doing it. Okay, gonna play this I've had worse. I want to find our winning the game option. Okay. Now we take 4, do a keyhole. If we hit the points here, then next turn we can use the same old thing to knife, and then also play Mad Dash. This is quite big. Oh, misclick. Yeah, so this is costing quite a lot of money. If we hit an agenda though, we're okay for next turn. 11k right here. Okay, there's no town there, good. And we want to just take a credit. Discard one of his day jobs and one of his liberated. Yeah. Having a backup keyhole in case they Hunter Seeker this one seems sensible. Do we have Jackson? Okay. So this is going to take a bit longer than I thought. I'm just using it straight away though. So now I've actually got 2 decent barriers installed. I'm wondering if our option should really be to try and apocalypse them. Getting through this ice is not particularly difficult, so I think I'm just going to try and draw up so we can apocalypse, but play a day job this turn. Yep, more ice and archives. Got 9 cards left in our stack, so this should not take too long. Okay, Marcus Batty on there again. Drop the Eater, drop a Spoon, drop this Deja Vu. Okay. Yeah, so we can retrieval run the Eater if we need to after Apocalypse. That's score hostile takeover. Yep, okay. Somewhat annoying that we broke the interdiction because now we have to worry about this. It could be a Chrysium grid, which messes us up somewhat. Okay, drew the Apocalypse. Might just run through a Bloodletter and let it trash 2 cards from our stack. Don't think there's anything particularly devastating for us to hit, so that's fine. Or we could install with MK Ultra. No, I'm okay. Let's just let them do this. It's actually strength 4, so it's quite bad to break it with MK Ultra. I think this is implemented. Okay, yep. Trash top 2 cards of our stack. Deja Vu, same old thing. Let's get a card from HQ and steal an agenda, pretty good. And okay, it's Brian Stinson. That does not matter to me at all. And now I'm just going to take 2 credits and we'll drop. It's always difficult with stuff like this. I guess we might not be able to play our Levy anymore, so got to think carefully. I think it's got to be. Oh no, we still have 1 same old thing, so that's fine. Yeah, I'll drop his Liberated account. Yeah, so. $14 credits plus a bad publicity should be enough to Apocalypse. We'll go Archives, Omar for R&D, yeah, so we don't need to break the R&D ice is the main point here, so do the Omar run first. Oh, that's pretty good. Well, let's do some maths. So I can let them fire 1 sub on this, so it's going to be 5 plus 2 is 7 to break. Yeah, so to break this we're going to need 5 credits, 2 credits, makes, yeah, puts on 8, run again. Yeah, so I think getting to Archives twice is actually going to be a really big problem. So instead, what can we do? And we could just let this fire. And let it Ember run. Gain a credit. Just worried that we won't be able to kill this Sandberg at all. Okay, Yeah, so we can't do this turn, right? Because we're spending too much money to break this. It'll take all the monies. Yep, okay. 7 plus 7 is 14, lives on less than what we need. If we wait a turn, we can go into the next tier of that, so... Right. That fires. So I think we run with Sandberg to make them protect it. Oh, that is not as bad, actually. So we lose our Black Orchestra if this fires, which is inconvenient, but because we're on this Apocalypse plan, I think it's safe, so... Or we could just trash his Keyhole, which I was planning on doing anyway. Yeah, that seems fine. Okay, so that's fine, and we kill the Sandberg, and now I'm just going to take 2 credits. Hopefully we won't recur it, that would be an issue. Yeah, so it's kind of funny actually, but this Bloodletter is kind of convenient for us. Assuming that we go ahead with this plan, Blending Apocalypse, we run Archives and run Archives again. We're getting Sandberged again. I mean, it's not that bad if we do get Sandberged again. So, let's just try it again. Okay, cool. So, let him gain a credit. That's R&D. And now we run Archives. And now we run HQ. We let this fire, and we let it trash our Eater, because that way the Eater doesn't get turned over to the Apocalypse. And this deck actually has no way of recovering the face down cards, so having something like this which lets us trash our own cards is kind of convenient. Sometimes with this deck you want to install a Conspiracy Breaker on one of these last Apocalypse runs so you can write over all your other programs and save them from being turned face down. We also get an agenda here, but that wasn't really the important part. The important part was getting to play this card. Boom. So, that worked eventually. And we still have 1 point we can recover from here and a Mad Dash in hand, so we could definitely win the game next turn if they aren't able to recover from this. Okay, immediately Ice Archives. And HQ, so probably an agenda in there. Alright, run Archives and see what it is. If it's a barrier, we still have issues. Yep, okay. Let's just try and get some cheeky accesses on here. Don't really want to do that. It might be time to levy soon. So we can't land that retrieval run, which is frustrating. Go see what's protecting HQ. Another barrier. Take a credit. Okay then. At least it's expensive, so... Let's go check some remote servers. Yeah, I'll kill it now. And that one too. Check R&D again. Oh, we know they have 5 frees in their deck, so we could just win the game. Not quite, but nearly. And for instance, in which they're going to get it to use, so I guess they're going back up to a pretty high credit total. Or they could choose not to install that Brian. I'm gonna take advantage of this as much as I can. Another point. And another point, there we go. That seals it. So that took a little while, and we did have to land the Apocalypse, but I think we played that fairly well. We had enough aggressive pressure early to make them defend their centrals, and then we punished them for doing that by blowing up all their expensive ice. So yeah, we struggled through. That ability removing paperclip was actually very frustrating. Obviously we could have accessed archives a lot earlier had that not happened, but apart from that I think we fared fine even against an ID which a lot of people are worried about screwing over Max. Okay, let's move on to game 2.